We already discussed how a good sequel is often built. We touched on this topic in our Beholder Free review last year. Simply put, ideally the positive aspect of the first game should be improved, the negative ones minimized, and something new added on top. However, when the simple formula is factored in, something can still go wrong. Thus, many game projects can ask a number of pressing questions. Is a sequel even necessary? And is a sequel is principle? In this review, we'll find out what an OXENFREE 2 Last Signals was glued together from and why the number 2, and its title doesn't really fit this game. The protagonist of OXENFREE 2, Riley, returns to her hometown Kamena in hope of getting out of a difficult period of life and takes up the job of studying mysterious electromagnetic signals. At first glance, the task is simple. You need to climb to the highest point on the coast and put the transmitters to analyze this strange anomaly. A researcher named Evelyn keeps in touch with an Hernan radio, and she just starts the news that today is possible to put only one transmitter, and to deal with everything else tomorrow. To help Riley is given necessary equipment and a partner, Jacob, a slightly awkward guy who has spent his full life in Kamena. To those in know, the word tomorrow in OXENFREE should be at least a proper classing, but don't be intimidated, it's a bit of cheat. Also, the first half of the game isn't exactly OXENFREE 2. So, Riley and Jacob, the hero of Lost Signals, get lost to the right place, set off transmitted and witness a triangle portal appear in the sky, which cause time and space to start malfunctioning. Now they will be periodically motored from the present in the future, then to the past, teleport from place to place, and through to surrounding with Riley now and now we begin a talk to a ghost. Riley's job in his story is to close the portal. Jacob's job is to recap the event of the first game in 30 seconds, expand on the storyline of one of the key characters, and of course talk about everything, nothing whatever. Constant communication between characters is nice school studio trademark. Characters talk vividly and almost always interestingly, and the players offer several options of answers. This often turns out to be a great pleasure to immerse yourself in the dialogue. This was the case in OXENFREE and After Party, and Lost Signals doesn't have that. That's its very trouble. In the sequel, the chemistry between the characters is difficult to build. Sometimes it feels like you are hearing the same story for the third time, but in different words, and some of the lines seems redundant. It's time to clarify. OXENFREE 2 Lost Signals is like two almost indistinguishable games in one. Only the first one looks like a boring to the point to impossibly demo, and the second one is actually a direct sequel to OXENFREE. Let's outline. Among the innovation of the Lost Signals relative its producer, a walkie-talkie through which Riley can communicate with other characters, free exploration of specious location of the Cayman coast with a completely unreadable map, equipment to discover shortcuts, and the ability to climb rocks, and based on all of that, running a lot of running. Whatever the first OXENFREE was more corridor-like, and smaller or more varied in location. At least exploring Edward Island didn't feel like a topographical disaster with endless backtracking. The first half of the sequel literally consists of the feeling of devastation, when you realize what you turned down the wrong path again, and now you have to stomp at the other end of the map at an idiotic speed in order to do something in the game to move on. And the stomping has to be gone often through additional location and in awkward silence. Suddenly the character in night school studio games might just end amazing. On this beautiful map with an living gives to me, I managed to accidentally arrive at the pre-final location twice, where I found accidentally arrived in the pre-final location. Told something like, oh, we don't know what to do about that yet. After that, the game became a hunt for scripts and loading screens, and you get a lot of loading screens. But no conversion are interrupted by loading screens. What happiness! When the script is found, every event and every little scribble becomes a breath of fresh air until the final. Perhaps I was a cunning plan of the developers to make the first 2 hours terribly stuffy, but then around every corner you could see your face twisting with excitement, but I can hardly believe it. Returning to the theme of the game character, in addition to Riley and Jacob, they are antagonists in the neighborhood, 3 teenagers trying to break the hero's transmitters and somehow interact with the anomaly for their own purpose. In reality, their antagonism is of course questionable. Only the leader of Team Olivia is really motivated and engaged to make contact with the ghost. She both freelances herself better than her 2 companions and is designed to elicit an emotional response from the player. This brings us to important detail. There are almost no significant characters in OXENFREE 2. And even more so, there are almost no secondary characters whose screen time is more than a minute. There's Riley, Jacob, Olivia, essentially the main characters ignoring same plot development from the previous game. Here's henchmen who probably haven't even entered high school yet, and a set of voices on a dozen walkie-talkie channels. Because of this, the whole action feels like a spectacle. Talking on the walkie-talkies is sort of like an optimal mini quest. Each person talking to Riley gets into situations that you can help with. Admittedly, the help is most often in conversion. We are asked to go somewhere, give advice, or we just chat. Everyone in Kamina at this time is supposedly affected by the anomaly. But it's hard to believe what's happening, not only because you can see the effect, but also because you don't always hear the corresponding changes in dialogue on the walkie-talkie. Some chapters sometimes briefly say something about the game forward, but so significantly that you can remove these dialogues and nothing will change. The worst part is that the entire first half of the game could be cut in half, and it would only get better. Take out most of the running back and forth, change the walkie-talkie interaction in some way, and suddenly you have the final episode of OXENFREE. If you don't enjoy the first couple of hours of the game, but decide to heroically overcome it, you will see something amazing. Lost Signals will find strong connection to the previous games. Riley's story, through dragging through the main plot, will finally make more sense. Those who loved the first part will feel waves of nostalgia. The main character we want to realize emphasize, and the other one a couple of plot twists ahead. Without spoilers, unfortunately, it won't be possible to tell about all this better. But such is Mr. Stone that it takes patience to have a great romantic experience, to better understand what's going on and to get into it. The original OXENFREE wasn't rushed and took a long time to accelerate too. But that's the thing. In a game that considers a full-fledged sequel, it wouldn't hurt to ramp up the dynamic and not accessible for a good half of the timeline. In the end, if you cut down on the performance bad moments of the first half, it essentially just the timing that suffers. OXENFREE 2 Lost Signals, which took the developers years to make, would have turned into an absolutely stunning episode. It would have made a great conclusion to OXENFREE length, say as a nice DLC, and that would have only brightened it up. As it stands, the set of innovation really struggles to justify having a 2 in the title. Who knows, maybe a lot of things changed during development. Maybe the plans were different and the first act originally looked different. But now we have OXENFREE 2 as it is, which says in dynamics a number of questions to some decision of the authors, an intriguing storyline, but the impossibility to say unequivocal whatever is a successful project or not.